What's up guys, my name is Luke and welcome back to Motion and Design. So for this week's tutorial I thought I would do some dynamic clones, show you how to do some procedural geometry and then use that geometry to just do some cool dynamic movements. This is more just for like abstract art. Yeah, so let's get straight into it. So let's start over here with a flower. We're going to change the number of petals down to 4. And then let's make this 50 and 100 should be good. Let's change this angle over here to 90 so we get these nice hard corners. And then let's just increase this a little bit. And then let's change it to none so we can get rid of that top part over there. Cool, so that's the base over there, and let's go over here and add an extrude. Throw this into the extrude over here, and then make this about, let's say 50. Yeah, 50 should be fine. Cool, and then let's throw that into a cloner over here, and then change this to -90 so that it's facing upwards. Awesome, that's good. Let's also just make these separate just a little bit more, like that, and then let's add like 3 on top. We just want a small gap between the top over here. And then let's bring this up and add in a plane over here. Cool, let's put the cloner so that it's just about to touch the plane, like that, and that's perfect. Cool, we can increase the amount of clones. Yeah, you guys can add as many clones as you want, but for this I'm just gonna do whatever this amount is. Let's go over here into our cloner and then go to bullet tags and then rigid body. And now if we press play, they should fall through the floor. Cool. Let's add a collider body onto our plane over here so that when it falls it actually hits the floor over here. Nice, so that's the basis of this. Let's add a cube over here. This is going to be our collider so that it doesn't go past a certain limit over here. Something like that should be good. Let's just add a display tag onto here. This isn't necessary, you could always just hide it, but I sometimes like to do this just so I can see exactly what I'm dealing with over here. Let's put that in the middle. Yeah, that should be perfect. Cool. So how are we going to make this effect where it kind of like bounces around like you saw in the original animation? We're going to be using a plane effector. So with your cloner selected, let's go over here into MoGraph and then select plane. Cool. And with the plane selected over here, we're going to turn off the position, but we're going to turn on scale. Let's go with uniform scale and let's set this to about 0.5. You can always set it to 0.1 if you want to. And now if we have to press play, you'll notice they all go flying, which isn't really what we want. But we can fix that by just adding a spherical field over here. Let's put the spherical field maybe like in the middle over here. That should be perfect. And instead of animating the spherical field ourselves, because that's boring and who has time to like manually animate things, we can go over here and add a vibrate tag to it. If I can spell. There we go. Let's add a vibrate tag. And then let's set this to position over here. And let's set it to about 1,000 and 1,000 over here. And now if we have to press play, it's moving around very quickly, but you'll notice that it's hitting certain ones, making them go big, and it's knocking everything else over, which is super cool. One thing we forgot to do is add our collider onto our cube over here. So now if we press play, the reason that that's happening is in the cube over here, let's change our shape instead of automatic to static mesh. So now if we press play, there we go. Look at that. Super cool. I think we can increase this a little bit just so that there's a little bit more bounce in it, and we can also bring this up a little bit. Something like that should be perfect. Great. We also don't want this to move around so quickly, so let's set this to maybe 1 over here, and let's see what that looks like. That's better in my opinion. You can just change up the seed a little bit if you don't like the specific animation, or you know, you can manually keyframe it. It's all up to you. I just prefer to use the vibrate tag just because then we can get some like random variations in it. Let's also just set that to the center over here, and let's actually bring it a little bit up. And look at that. Super cool. And really simple and really quick and really easy, but you're able to get some like really cool results. This obviously looks better when you put in some more clones over here. Let's put in some more, and now look at that. Super cool, super abstract. It's really cool. So let me show you guys how to color this, because if we had to, let me just open up Octane over here. If we had to apply a texture to this right now, the one texture will be applied to everything. We could try add a random tag to the, a random color tag to the material, but that won't really do anything because Octane sees each of these as, all of this as one object over here. So let me show you. So if I had to go over here and add a diffuse texture, and add in a random color node, you'll see that everything is the same color, which isn't really what we want. We want to have it where each of them can have its own color. That is a pretty easy way of doing that. With the cloner over here selected, we're going to go into MoGraph again and select random. But instead of any of these being on, we're going to go over here to color and turn the color mode onto effector color. And now look, every single cloner has its own individual color. Super cool, right? Now what we can do is, with our material over here, we can go to over here, this MG color shader. And now when we plug that in, each of them will now have the same color that's associated with over here. So it's a day later, and I thought I would just break down how I did the lighting and the texturing of it. Seeing as though it was quite simple, I thought let me just add that onto the tutorial. Cool, so with our cloners over here, and have each of them having their own individual color, let's go over here into material and select diffuse. Let's add this diffuse to our cloner over here. And in our Octane material, we're going to go over here to this MG color shader and drop that into our transmission channel. Actually, for now, let's throw it into the diffuse. It's fine. Is there a reason it's not working? Ah, there we go. Now it's working. Cool. So let's go over here and grab a gradient, throw this gradient in here, and now what I'm going to use is this side called coolers, or color palette. Yeah, coolers, I think something like that. They have a bunch of color palettes, and I like using this to get some really cool color palettes. Cool, and I'm going to use this pink one over here. So let's just take this, throw in some of these colors. Obviously this is up to the individual, you can choose what type of color palette you want, and this place has a bunch of really cool color palettes. Right, so that should be good. Let's just bring these a little bit closer so we have a nice variation of the color over there. I'm going to take it out of the diffuse and put it into the transmission. And then we're going to take the transmission over here and make that black. Cool. Let's change it to path tracing so that we're actually able to see it. So you'll notice that each of these corners are very sharp. So one way we could go about this is by just actually beveling each of them, but an easier way of doing it is actually inside of the texture over here. We can turn on this round edges, and if we create this round edges over here and now bring up the radius, you'll notice that now we have curvature to it, which is a really simple way of just getting some nice beveled edges without actually adding geometry and more polygons to your scene. Nice. Cool, so now let's do the lighting over here. So the way that I did the lighting was I created a box over here, made it editable, deleted these two sides over here, just raise it up a little bit. So what I'm doing is I'm just creating these kind of blockers just so that the light doesn't go through them. So I've got like one over here, one over here, and then let's make one more and make it kind of small in between. I think that's how I did it in my render. Something like that looks good. Then let's go over here, add a Octane daylight, and let's rotate that up. Let's go inside over here and add a camera. 90 minus 90. Cool, like that should be good. And now let's rotate the sun. Now we're getting these really nice little guard rays in a sense coming through. So the reason that I do it this way is so that there's still some light bounces that come through over here and over here. So it's not just this one sharp line coming through here. I think I also made the sun size a little bit bigger too. So what the sun size does, we can see over here with the harshness of the shadows. So if it's down to 1, they're perfectly straight, but if we increase it, they become a little bit more diffused over here, which is really nice. Cool. I think I also just changed it from orange down to white, just so I got rid of that like kind of orangey color, and then just maybe increase the power by a bit. Awesome. So that's the tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please consider giving it a like and subscribe. If you want to support the channel, please consider supporting me on Patreon. I have this project file up and a bunch of other project files over there. But yeah, if not, that's perfectly okay. I hope you guys have a great one, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.